long, some would say, I'm sure, torturous weeks without the reverse AFC power rankings. And you're still going to have to wait because we're going to lead with hockey.
The wait will continue. Yes.
Just getting that out there.
It was
a
hotly debated subject in here. Not really.
Well, it was, no, but we disagreed on it.
That qualifies as hotly debated for us.
It does, I think. So the pressure's on you.
Oh, I guess so, right?
To deliver on
Kekäläinen. I just thought it'd be a little weird to start with reverse AFC power rankings when the Sabres named a new GM, ending what has been a 5.5-year nightmare. It's been a horrible situation.
The question is whether anything has actually ended. I would say. Yesterday on the way out the door, we talked about this too. I'm like, I don't think I want to do power rankings at 3 with this press conference. But in my mind, I was thinking like, well, let's see how interesting it is. And
I guess
the owner just came and went.
Right. Well, that's not at all surprising.
No, but it's not good either.
No.
Like, why shouldn't he have to explain anything ever?
But I like Kekäläinen rather a lot, which I guess is why I'm the one who said let's talk about the Sabres to start.
Fine, and I've got no problem, but I just need to see it work. I need to see.
Sure, yeah.
Like he's not peak. Who do you want? Like he's not somebody that has won. Bowman is the last we decided yesterday. Scotty Bowman,
right,
who is still with us in 1980. Is the last time, almost the only time, the Sabres have ever hired anybody to run their hockey department that had any experience doing it.
Right.
So, I mean, this guy isn't Scotty Bowman. No offense.
No, he's not. No, you're not. You're not getting. You're not. Who are you getting?
Well,
you know what I mean. Like they were able to get this guy into the boat last year in the spring to be senior advisor. I think that was officially what the title was, to general manager Kevin Adams. And I thought that was a great job then. What I didn't know is whether he was just sort of victory lapping his career at this point. I'll help you. Can I do it from home? I just wasn't sure what we were getting there. And come to learn, I mean, Paul said yesterday to us he's seen him around a lot more than he thought he would. Kekäläinen himself today said he was here most of the fall. I know he's been on the road with the AHL team as recently as 2 weekends ago. So I think he's been more hands-on than I maybe was, pessimistically expecting when they announced him as an addition to the front office. I think they were seeking some credibility when they did it. I just didn't know exactly what they would get.
Okay, so how much credibility is it? 1 to 10. Who is this guy? Like, is he somebody that...
It's a 10 compared to Kevin Adams.
That's not where I want my line to be.
Well, that's too bad. That is where your line is. I had Kevin Adams, and now I have this guy. And this is a way more credible idea than that. In league circles, it's maybe a 5. Like, I don't know what would be a big high score.
That's where I want to hang out, is in actual league circles and not just like Buffalo Sabres circles.
Right.
So I want to have I want to have leadership that, like, isn't this what we always in the back of our minds, if not in the front, complain about with them? Is like, what's the point about whether your GM has ever been a GM before? What is the point of that? It's that, like, I'm somebody that hates the idea of retreads. I'm with Travis Yost when he makes fun of the fact that only 40 people can have these 30 jobs. And if you get fired from it, like, you're out automatically in the front of the line for the next one. I'm with that. Like, those are my sensibilities when it comes to this. Mm-hmm. But the Sabres years ago, I said and thought, got to a place where it was so far gone that it felt right to abandon that. And we don't need, who's the guy from BU? Quinn, who was the coach? Like, he was Eichel's coach.
Sure, yeah.
And, like, here's somebody that might be kind of a cool idea to be the Sabres coach. At the time, well, he'd never been an NHL coach. I didn't mind. Like, that's somebody that sort of off the grid, if you will. And I had to abandon that because there was so little credibility in it, I thought. This is your Adams point, or even some of their recent coaches. Even Ruff, you could actually make an argument for at his stage of his career. that like maybe I just need to reset.
Not wanting the retread route and the familiar route is how you end up with Ralph Kruger, which that idea appealed to, I think, both of us for a lot of those reasons. And that did not really pan out at all, obviously.
Well, why? So, because of his incompetence?
I think in part, yeah.
In part.
But the organization around him, I think, was still, I mean, were they more credible under Jason Botterill? I don't really know.
Now?
I don't really need to. Than now? I don't know. I'm not sure how to position this. I just know I feel like where the Sabres have been these last 5.5 years, it would have been hard to pull a better, more qualified fish into the boat than Jarmo Kekäläinen.
Okay. Well, I don't want to disagree with that.
So I just don't. Is he the most accomplished GM? Has he ever won a Stanley Cup? No.
He made the second round once?
Right.
In 11 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
So where I'm coming from, I feel like that is a vast improvement on what they've had. So I want to give that at least some chance. I liked a lot of what he had to say today. Mostly it was that he's talking about having autonomy, and we'll see if that actually turns into something tangible.
They all say that every time. Everybody says that every time. Does it mean he's being disingenuous? Not necessarily. But who was the last Bills, Sabres, anybody's leader guy that didn't tell you they were going to be able to do whatever they wanted? They always say that. Which you want that, right? Like, you want that to be true. The Tuch idea, again this morning, Paul's on. He's like, what's the first thing Alex Tuch? It is not the first thing they have to do. Alex Tuch is a future investment. He is, if he says no, then they trade him, and that's that. Is it a disaster if they don't sign him, like Paul keeps saying? Not to me, because he's old. And so if you have to restart, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, you have to do that again, then maybe you do. You're not in total control of that. Your players and your owner have some, reign over that. But you want your GM, everybody wants their GM in all situations to be in full control over all the decisions. And they all say what did Kevin Adams say to that question every single time?
He talks to Terry every day.
He talks to Terry, and this guy will too. But Jarmo. Can we just go first name? Jarmo is not going to say, I don't really care. I don't need to know what the owner thinks. He's never going to say that. I don't know.
I felt like he said more than just that. I mean, he will ask questions. I will talk to him, but I feel like he doubled down. Whether Adams said it or not, it was harder to believe coming from him given the circumstances of his arrival at the job.
Okay, I think that is TBD. Harder to believe than this. That is up to you to decide. Up to all of us to decide whether that's actually true.
I never bought it from Adams,
but from Kekäläinen.
Right.
Isn't that still to be determined whether
Of course. Yeah, it's the first, it's the first day on the job. So I don't know. You can pick at that all you want. We won't know for a while here, but I thought he was pretty forceful, almost like, he maybe even gestured like he'll be over there. And I don't know. I liked hearing that, and I liked hearing I can spend to the cap, which is something that's been a foreign concept around here. And he said that, and so I appreciate that.
Again, that's one that you need to see to be, you need to see it.
But it's right. But short of...
Did Adams ever say he wasn't allowed to?
He never directly answered the question. It was almost always, we've got all the resources we need.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't feel like I've heard we'll spend to the cap in 5 years.
Well, they haven't done it.
Exactly. So, and I don't know. I always kind of thought, like last year, the money they saved by dumping Skinner, that they didn't spend, that everybody made jokes about. By the time, I don't know if there was a good way to spend that money. To me, I wouldn't have wanted the GM of the team just to go spend the money so they can be at the cap. And you can say, see, we're at the cap. You got to add guys that are actually going to help you and not just spend the money. And, I thought circumstantially a little bit in Adams' defense, there maybe wasn't a great idea for that money by the time they got around to trying to spend it. They can't attract the right guys, all that stuff. So what's gone here is the specter of Adams sounding like that.
That's right.
To the team. That's the most important thing to me. The fans, look, you can be as skeptical as you want. Before I heard Kekäläinen today, last night at the end of our show, I was not excited about this. I just felt like they let another season get away from them. And, we'll see. There's games left. Maybe they will make a season of it before it ends. But getting a guy out of here that represented, I think, the punchline to jokes about the organization was important if you want to restore any kind of credibility within your dressing room and with your standing within the league. That had to happen. The minute Adams said the thing about the palm trees and the taxes, to me, you never, in a position like that, utter something like that into a microphone where people are recording you, where your players are going to hear you talking like that, because they suddenly, maybe, should I exaggerate? I'm in hot take territory. They're suddenly maybe feeling like hostages. I'm already here. Nobody else wants to come here. I can't attract people to help you. Good thing I got you under contract. That's what that sounded like. It was never about whether it was actually genuinely true on some level, which, of course, I think it is.
Yep.
It's not an easy place to attract guys. You just don't say it. Forget about the message it sends to all the players in the league. Think about the guys in the room that are supposed to be out there bleeding for the crest and all that stuff. It was just horrible. So they're free of that, which to me is not insignificant. So what he does with this now, how he prioritizes Tuch, if they get that done, if they don't, I think there's a good argument to not do it, but I'm in favor of doing it simply to signify we are different now. We are going to play the game the way teams play the game. And this guy matters to us right now. We know 8 years. I'm not going to say this in a press release. Hopefully not in the font that they released this information about today in.
You'd be the first one.
Yes, right. That looks like a press box menu. That looks like a press box menu.
Well, even though it was still flush center.
What are we doing? Anyway.
It was medieval times font.
I think this team needs to know they're really in it. And signing Tuch, I think, is important for that. Will it burn at some point? Yes. I think almost without question. But teams do that all the time in this league. They have the resources to do it. The cap is going up and up and up. So you want to be committed? Sign him. I mean, this thing will get off, I think, to a pretty rocky start if his first big move is trading Alex Tuch.
Unless it's like, unless it's hot, unless it's, if a lot of, maybe you speak for a lot of fans today. I don't know. I think I do too. Like, okay, somebody else. We've been down this road a few times. I think, you have fans who are going to be moved by this and some who are not going to want to look at it until it leads to something. Again, like Columbus did what? So there are a lot of things to say here. Like why wasn't he just given the job in the first place? Why, if the whole thing with Pegula is always like, I don't want to waste money anymore on guys who aren't working here. Like, why would you bring in this guy in the spring and then extend Adams? Like, that's just ridiculous. He had no interest in questions today. Like, there wouldn't have been a lot of them for the owner of the team. Like, I'm just here to tell you who this guy is and then leave. Just like that. That's not. Maybe not germane to all the conversation we're having, but still, like, really? That's the best you got? Doesn't exactly sit well to know that this owner, after all these record-setting losing, just can't even kind of, like, defend anything that's happened publicly. Just, hi, bye. That's not really where we were at in the conversation.
I think the less he says, the better.
I know, but that's not good.
I know that's not good. But in the end, I got to choose, do I have this man talk and make this worse, maybe, by saying something. Who knows? I mean, I don't want him answering questions. That's not a good way to live. Like, your owner you should trust him to do that, but I frankly don't.
Okay. I don't know if I want him answering questions, but I want him getting questions.
Yeah, I understand.
That seems completely fair and reasonable, but that doesn't have to happen, I guess, because that's up to them or him. I mean, Tuch is good. Nobody, I mean, even maybe Paul, who calls it a disaster every single time, the idea of Tuch being traded will deny that this is probably going to haunt you eventually. But that's okay because that's how, it has to be. And if this guy's really good, 32 teams now, more than ever, as many as ever in the NHL. If this guy's really good and he has all this credibility, you could have too much maybe. I'm a little bit afraid to deal with this guy because he's that sort of sharp. I'm not sure this is where we're at. If he's that good, he might be able to make a trade that doesn't upset the fan base. I mean, again, Paul is like this morning, Jeremy pushed back. He's like, why is it a disaster if they trade Tuch? He's like, because the fans love him. The fans don't love any of this. You got Thompson, Dahlin is elite. You've got guys on this team that are super good. And I don't know, is it that important that any of them be here for the foreseeable? Is anybody betrothed to the idea that one of these players is here when they eventually make the playoffs or something like that? If he goes, he goes.
I think the thing that, Paul will be on in 10 minutes here to explain himself, but I think the fear is that there's a domino effect.
Yes,
I don't retain Tuch. I'm trading you because I don't want to pay the market rate. And again, I respect the reasons that you would want to not do that. But given where they are, the last thing Jarmo Kekäläinen needs walking in the door, unless fans really want this, is Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin raising their hand when the summer gets you like, yeah, you know what, I'm done. We got a good. I don't care how old Alex Tuch is. He's my line mate. He's from here. He said repeatedly he wants to be here, and I don't know. I doubt that they are being unrealistic about what they're asking for in the marketplace. It's possible that they are. We don't ever get to know. They might feel like they're in such a position where they have all of the leverage that they can just ask for whatever they want. And if the Sabres don't pay it, they're going to look bad. And I don't want to deal with that. But I think something in the market rate, what Kempe signed for in LA, like that's what I got to do.
I do like that everything about today sounded like they want to try this year, because that's in order. I think we're not at a point where we're already talking about. This isn't like when Ruff was fired, before. And it's Ron Ralston, and it's Suffering. It's any of this. We're still early enough in this, and it's still close enough, I think. I mean, Paul has said they have to win 10 games in a row to be live. I do not agree. It's still early enough in this, and the timing of this is such that I didn't want to hear that we have to, step back and start to think about draft picks and, who's in the pipeline, these kinds of things. Not just because we've all heard so much of that for so long, but because of the standings and the quality of the team. Like, they've improved in some areas, and they only have 2 healthy goalies at the moment. Like, he did say he wanted to be done with that.
Yeah.
I think what will maybe show in the next while here is how Kekäläinen's vision. I'm not ready to go first name. We have to meet once, at least, many times. I've never called Josh Allen Josh once either, so, this is just me. I think what will maybe show up is if he is able to push different buttons with this team than Adams could. I mean, there might have been lots of things that I just want to say might have been, because it was so for so long that this is probably not that many times. But there might have been things Adams wanted to execute that he couldn't because of what he was told, or he has a boss, if it's all just he was just too afraid to do anything. I don't know. That seems too easy. So if this guy walks in the door, whether it's signing Alex Tuch or trading Alex Tuch or doing 5 other things, why can't you just do lots of things if you're so inclined? If he walks in and shakes it up, changes the coach, that was not taken off the table today.
No.
If he does that, then I could get aroused. I could get into this.
Yeah.
But it has to happen first. Until it does, he's a guy that they had already that was in the market for a job that didn't really have that much success when he had this job with another team. That's only possibly an upgrade because the Sabres never do anything this, quote, bold. I just need more. That's all it is. It's the first day.
No, he did. Yeah, I mean, in the you don't hang banners. Well, I don't know, maybe they do for 5 playoff appearances in 11 seasons.
No, they do not.
We're working on 14, going on 15 here, and so a lot of guys that have been here have failed to even come close to that.
I know, but
so
that's
why this still nothing. This is an upgrade from that.
Jerry Meehan does not have his a banner.
One other thing, real quick,
Sorry to him.
we're going to have to break and get to Paul here, but he also did not. He was asked at least one time specifically about what he likes here, what the roster, and he did not name any names. There's a lot of good players here. We've got a good core here, and that was it. It was very general, which to me, I'm guessing is calculated. He's new here. I'm not telling anyone you're preordained to be here for ever and ever, or even for the next 4 months.
I wouldn't dare do that to anybody on this roster.
So
I wouldn't punish you like that.
I don't feel like that was a warning shot, but it also was, it would have been pretty easy to talk about Dahlin and Thompson and whomever else you want, to Samuelson maybe, and he just didn't want to do it.
Good point.
I don't think that was an oversight.
Good point. One's your captain, and he talked a lot about character. Mm-hmm. The other is a guy they can't figure out what position he should play, even though he scores 40 goals every year. All right. I mean, I'm open to anything. You shouldn't ever not be with this franchise, including, might I say, success. You shouldn't be closed to that. It's possible. It happens. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We have Paul Hamilton next. Ross Tucker at 4. We'll get into the Bills then, if not sooner. This is WGR.